Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at 10 animals who saved people's lives. We're used to people saving animals' lives, whether it's rescuing cats from trees or adopting a homeless dog. But these are some animals that saved humans' lives in unbelievable ways. These animals are more resourceful, quick thinking, and brave than many humans, and will blow you away. Before we get into it, be sure to subscribe to my new channel, The Crafty. There's a link in the top right corner, so definitely check it out. Coming in at number 10, we have Winnie the cat. Cats are one of the most common pets in the world, but Winnie from Indiana is no regular pet. Back in 2007, the Kiesling family were asleep one night. This included Kathy Kiesling, her husband, and her 14-year-old son. They were sound asleep, but down in their basement, a water pump malfunctioned, causing a gas leak. These are very serious, and usually cause a house fire at best, or a house to blow up at worst. But luckily their cat Winnie was able to sense the air change and was woken up by the smell of the gas. This is because cats are more sensitive to smells, which is kind of like a superpower in this instance. Winnie rushed into Kathy's bed and woke her up too. Kathy could barely stay up straight when she woke up and nearly passed out. She checked on her husband and son, who had already passed out, but thankfully she was able to reach a phone and dial 911. She then passed out herself before 911 arrived and stopped the leak. The entire family were fine hours later, but wouldn't have been if it weren't for Winnie. When Kathy and her husband bought Winnie from the pet store, they thought it would be a good idea as it would teach their son responsibilities. But it turned out they bought far more than a cat that day. They bought the rest of their lives. Next up is Willie the parrot. A lady called Megan from Colorado had a parrot named Willie. She was annoyed at him because he knew a lot of words, including bad language, and wouldn't stop saying them. This is because parrots can repeat words they hear. But this amazing language ability actually ended up saving a life. In 2009, she was babysitting her roommate's 2-year-old daughter. She left her watching TV and left the room for a minute to use the restroom. Then from the restroom, she heard Willie shouting mama baby over and over again. Megan thought this was odd, as she'd never heard him say those two words before. She went back into the room to find the baby was choking on some food. She ran and saved her life with the Heimlich maneuver. But the real hero here is Willie, as just a few seconds later and the baby could have been done for. Willie sure is one genius parrot who can probably speak more words than some young kids. I bet now Megan won't mind what Willie says, thanks to his voice being used to save a life. Next up is Toby the dog. This is an example of an animal being just as smart as a human. We all know people love golden retrievers, but this one named Toby from Maryland is extra special. His owner, Debbie Parkhurst, was home alone one day eating an apple as an afternoon snack. Suddenly, she began to choke on a bite of apple. Because she was all alone, she tried to do the Heimlich maneuver on herself, but to no avail. This was when her golden retriever Toby realized she was in trouble and ran into hell. He amazingly knocked Debbie onto her back. He then began to jump on her chest to free her airwaves. You may not think a dog would even be able to think like this, but it seems Toby can. Amazingly, the apple came free, and Debbie's life was saved thanks to her dog. She did apparently have a few paw-shaped bruises, but that's a lot better than choking on an apple. As she was home alone, she'd be a goner without Toby, so he really was the hero of the day. Next up is Lulu the pig. This is one animal you see a lot on farms, but not usually as a pet. Well, this is an exception for Joanne Altsman's daughter's pot-bellied pig. One day in Pennsylvania, her daughter asked her to take care of her pig. She reluctantly accepted and was left home alone for the day with Lulu the pig. It was a normal day until Joanne's heart failed. Her husband was on a fishing trip, so she was home alone, but luckily Lulu stepped up to the plate. Joanne was collapsed, and Lulu saw this. Lulu then squeezed through the dog flap they have in their door and went out to sit in the middle of the road. Eventually a car stopped, and Lulu led a man back into the house to Joanne. The man dialed 911, who said if they came just minutes later, Joanne would be no more. It looks like Lulu's amazing intuition saved Joanne's life. Joanne was supposed to be taking care of Lulu for the day, but it looks like things went the other way. Joanne is now totally fine, and Lulu is a true hero. Next up is Kerry the horse. This incident happened on a farm in Scotland in 2016. A farmer, Fiona Boyd, had been trying to relocate a cow and its calf to another field. But in case you don't know, cows can be very aggressive when they have a calf, as they think you could be harming their kids. So when Fiona was trying to relocate them, the cow rushed her and knocked her to the ground. The cow then moved in and tried to crush Fiona, and Fiona thought it was all over. However, at that moment, Fiona's horse named Kerry ran up to the field. At first, Fiona thought Kerry was also going to crush her, but Kerry ended up kicking the cow with its hind legs. The cow then moved away from Fiona, and Kerry had saved her life. Kerry later did manage to relocate the cow without any more trouble. But I think Kerry the horse should also be relocated to the best stable money can buy. It really is the least you can do when an animal has saved your life. Fiona says she's now extra careful around cows despite working with them for over 20 years. Yeah, I think that sounds like a good idea. Next up is 3 lions. In most situations, lions end humans' lives. But this was a situation where lives actually saved somebody. In Ethiopia, Africa, there's a big problem. That is men taking girls from rural villages. In 2014, 4 men took a 12-year-old girl from her village. They took her, but before the men could get too far, they ran into a pack of 3 lions. The 3 lions then interfered and chased the men away. You may think the lions would have tried to eat the girl, but instead, they protected her. Police later arrived and found the girl being protected by the 3 big cats. And a week later, the police were able to track down the 4 men who tried to take the girl and brought them to justice. Forget Batman or Sherlock Holmes, these lions make great detectives and crime stoppers. It's not every day you see a lion, but I think this may be one of the only days lions ever tried to save anyone's life and caught criminals. Next up is Binti Jawar the gorilla. This one happened at the Brookfield Zoo in Chicago in 2011. It was summertime and the entire zoo was packed with visitors checking out the animals. But one exhibit which was particularly popular was the gorilla enclosure that housed Binti Jawar. It was all nice and normal when suddenly a 3-year-old boy climbed into the enclosure. He fell 15 feet to the surface but was okay. However, zookeepers were terrified that the gorilla Binti Jawar would try and injure the boy. They thought about tranquilizing the gorilla when suddenly the unexpected happened. The gorilla cradled the boy in his arms and brought him closer to the rescue team. They actually checked out the kid while he rested on the gorilla's back. The kid was totally fine and the zookeepers were amazed the gorilla wasn't threatened and tried to hurt the boy. But not only did the gorilla not hurt the curious 3-year-old, he saved his life. Next up is Kilo the dog. This is one hardcore looking dog, but it doesn't just look hardcore, it acts hardcore. One peaceful day on Staten Island in 2012, a burglar attempted to break into a guy named Justin Becker's house. The crook posed as a FedEx guy, and when Justin opened the door, he barged in. Becker attempted to shut the door on the guy, but he was struggling. That was when his pit bull dog named Kilo jumped in to help. He bit the burglar on the left, which caused the burglar to shoot Kilo. He bit the burglar on the left leg, which caused the burglar to shoot Kilo. However, after a little while, the robber gave up and fled. Later, Kilo was taken to a vet where he made an amazing full recovery. The burglar was later caught by police and is now behind bars, not only for attempted robbery, but also for what he did to Kilo. The robber is in prison for a long time, and Kilo was given a nice big bone. Talk about a man's best friend. Next up is Ningnong the elephant. We've had dogs and cats on this list, but nothing as exotic or unusual as an elephant. This is the amazing story of a heroic elephant who saved a little girl's life. In 2005, 8-year-old Amber Mason from the UK was on vacation in Thailand with her family. She was riding a 4-year-old elephant named Ningnong one day when the unexpected happened. A sudden tsunami struck, which was very dangerous and widely reported in the media at the time. The waves would have crushed Amber if she wasn't riding Ningnong at the time. That is because Ningnong turned her body around with Amber on it, so that Ningnong would face the waves. Ningnong knew she was more tough than Amber, so she did this not only to protect Amber, but to save her life. Amber's mother was terrified something may have happened to her daughter, so ran all over the beach looking for her. But she was relieved and amazed when she found out she'd been saved by Ningnong. And now, 12 years on, Amber is looking great at 20 and still talks about her experience today. It may have been 12 years ago, but she says she'll never forget the elephant that saved her life. Next up is lions. This is a very odd story you often don't hear anything like. This involves a farmer in South Africa who farms lions. He doesn't sell or poach them, but he simply looks after them along with livestock. One day he was feeding his lions when a gorilla came out of nowhere and grabbed a rifle that he kept in his truck. Gorillas are very similar to humans, and the farmer was terrified the gorilla might pull the trigger. This could either injure the farmer, the gorilla, or one of his lions. Luckily, before the gorilla had a chance to do anything, one of the farmer's lions pounced on it. The farmer was then able to retrieve his rifle and the gorilla ran away unharmed. And thankfully the farmer was also unharmed thanks to those lions saving his life. Perhaps this is a way of them thanking the farmer for saving their lives from poachers. Check out the poll in the top right hand corner to vote for the best animal. As I said before guys, check out my new channel, The Crafty, and be sure to subscribe. If you comment on the latest video saying you subscribed, you'll get a shout out in the next top 10s video like on screen right now. So if you want something like this, then head over there, subscribe, and comment on the latest video saying you subscribed. And as always, thanks for watching. Check out some more videos on screen right now, leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.